You're listening to FitPro Sessions with Parallel Coaching, Season 2, Episode 4. Hi, I'm Neale Bergman. In today's podcast, Hayley and I are talking about the 4 principles to getting started as a fitness professional. So stay tuned.
Hi, I'm Neale Bergman.
And I'm Hayley Bergman. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands of fitness professionals to get qualified, learn with simplicity, and coach clients with confidence.
We're the first to say that learning and being a FitPro doesn't have to be hard work, and that with the right structure, support and resources, you can become a confident and knowledgeable fitness professional that is dedicated to more.
So how do you learn, qualify and kickstart as a FitPro? This is the FitPro Sessions podcast with Parallel Coaching.
The final episode, Season 2, Episode 4. This is not the final episode of FitPro Sessions because we jump into Season 3 next week, but this is the end of Season 2. Hayley, here we go.
Here we go, and this is all of Season 2 has been about getting started as a FitPro. So it's been about your FitPro beginnings, and that means it is for you if you're a FitPro that's literally teetering on the edge, ready to get started with clients, overcome by fear, overcome by reasons, excuses, things that are stopping you from now taking that action and getting started with clients.
So you might be a FitPro that is currently learning.
Yeah.
You're taking your exams, you got your practical assessments maybe in the next couple of months, but you know at some point in the next, 1 to 6 months, you're going to be a fully fledged FitPro.
Yeah.
Maybe you've just passed.
Maybe you're waiting for that certificate.
Maybe you're waiting, but ultimately it's that point, it's that transition of how do I actually begin as a FitPro. So let's do a quick recap. Season 2, Episode 1 was FitPro Beginnings, which was all about
starting with the end in mind.
Starting with the end in mind, and your deep reasons why you're here, why you started, why you want to go and help people, and we answer 4 clear kind of principles and questions in that episode. Then we jumped into Season 2, Episode 2, which was all about the common questions, all the things. This was just, I loved that session.
25 commonly asked questions that stall FitPros from getting started, and we just thrashed them all out.
And it stalls people from getting started for a number of reasons, because it stops you from getting to the real nitty-gritty questions that we answered and asked, more to a point, in Season 2, Episode 3, which was last week, which is all about your internal hang-ups and understanding, why do I stop myself? Why do I self-sabotage? Why do I feel like this? Why do I have this fear of failure, fear of success? Why is my self-worth, self-belief, self-confidence? Why don't I think I can? Why can't I pull this off? Why do I believe that I'm not going to be able to do this? And I look around lots of other people and I see them absolutely rocking it and killing it, and I compare myself, and ultimately we get rid of all of those internal hang-ups.
And by the end of the last episode, you would have ditched the fear of starting, which means you're ready today. You are now ready to be able to start thinking about what you've got to do to take those steps, those meaningful steps to make this a real thing.
And I think a lot of people, when they start in anything, we want to get into the hows. How do I do this? How do I make the food? How do I make the cake? How do I make whatever it is?
How do I create a plan?
How do I create a plan? How do I wash the car? How do I, in all areas of life, it's always the hows.
The hows stall us,
hows stall us, but we want to get to the hows. So if you're joining us brand new today and you've not listened to Season 2, Episode 1, 2, 3, okay, that tees up today.
Yes.
Okay, don't just jump to the hows. And if you are listening to this and you're a regular FitPro session listener, go back, and if you've not done the work, today's session about the hows really doesn't make any difference. I'm going to lay it out there. It sounds quite harsh, quite a stern comment, but it will make zero difference if you haven't gone and answered and thought about the questions and the conversations of Episode 1, 2 and 3, because if you don't understand why you're here, why you're doing it, you've not got rid of those common questions that are bugging kind of the front part of your brain. Now, Season 2, Episode 3, the internal hang-ups go to kind of your Neanderthal brain and answer all those internal dialogues.
Yeah.
We can't get to the hows.
Exactly.
So the hows are irrelevant if you've not done all the other stuff.
And you'll be following these strategies that we give you today, these 4 principles, and you will come across those internal hang-ups, those common questions. So if you have jumped straight to this episode, you are going to hit some barriers that we've sorted for you
So-
in the other episode. So go back.
Switch it off and go back right now.
And the things that you've opened up in the last episode, for those of you that have already listened through, those in the last episode, those internal hang-ups, opened up a lot of, oh, actually, I can do this.
Yes,
and I can
completely.
leave that baggage, that negative thoughts, the clouds behind, and I can make way for some sunny days away from those negative thoughts and start to take action. But something happened. These little other things started cropping up out of the way,
The
which
ether.
isn't necessarily your thought process, but real things, like real reasons, real stuff that's kind of now a new problem, a new barrier to deal with.
Which is what today is all about.
Exactly. It's about the time, the commitments that you have. You might have family and work life and money and stability that you've got to consider before you just leap off the cliff and start a new career entirely.
So today's all about the external hang-ups, so to speak. That's
yeah.
what I think
There
that's
you go.
a key
That's
point.
it.
Okay, so we've dealt with the internal stuff. Why me, why now? Can I do this?
Yes.
Can I pull this off? Now today's all about, I do have some real plausible justifications as to why I can't get going,
The real
and how do I get
reasons.
past them. Like Hayley's already mentioned, I don't have enough, there's not enough time in my day. I've already got 2 jobs, and I've got another part-time job on top of that, and we've got kids, we've got family, we've got after school runs, we've got holidays coming up. We're filming this late July, early August, so it's holiday season. There's lots of real reasons where life is happening.
And then add to
Day to
that
day.
the lack that you might have, whereby you're like, oh, I'm missing knowledge, I'm missing strategy, I don't know how to go and get clients, I don't know how to plan for my clients. And they're also really real reasons that are stopping you from getting started.
Completely. And it's all about getting started. And I think if we had just one summary point,
Yeah,
okay, getting started is just about taking one meaningful action.
just one.
One meaningful action. So regardless of kind of how busy or how many external hang-ups you've got,
Yeah,
even if you just took one action today, okay, what would you have to do just to take one action today? It might be a 2-minute action for you to get a little bit of momentum, but you might do a whole week of 2-minute actions every
Yes.
day, or a whole month of 2-minute actions every day.
Oh, fantastic.
And
You'll be so far down the road compared to someone that's still waiting to take any action.
And it might just be that first amount of small time, energy and effort just to start to get that snowball rolling, to get some momentum.
And I want you to take a moment just to think, have you been waiting for something to happen before you take action? This is
Tell us more. That's good.
This is a delay tactic, and I am queen of delay tactics. So
True story.
So I'm very qualified to talk to you about this. So
Hayley has an A star plus. 3 years in a row on this.
So thinking about you right now, are you waiting for one thing to happen before you now go and take action, meaningful action towards starting as a FitPro?
So I interpret that as I'm waiting for my
Holidays finish.
holiday to start and finish before I take action.
Yes, I'm waiting for the kids to go back to school. I'm waiting for a certain amount of money. I'm waiting for a redundancy to come through.
I've heard that so much. I'm waiting. The redundancy's on the horizon. I'm waiting to see if my name's on the list.
Yeah.
It's a lovely story.
Yeah,
I love that, and I've actually been in that position, so I'm also incredibly qualified. I've been in that very position, but you're so far out of my control. If I think back, it was so far out of my control because I didn't know when my name. I didn't even know if my name would be on the list, but I didn't even know when I would find out if my name was on the list.
So you just got to wait.
So I've just got to wait.
So it's a real genuine thing that you've got to consider, but at the same time, you're just waiting, which takes all the control, all of your momentum right out. It means you can't start daily action.
And season 2, episode 1 was all about the why. And I remember this burning desire, kind of this flame just slowly being put out. Like an old candle, and you have the thing you put the candle out. Do you know what I mean?
A candle snuff.
A candle snuff, is that what it's called? Yeah. It was kind of like the more time I waited, the more this candle snuff.
New word.
New word, okay. Came over the candle and lowered down. And I felt that point, and I remember that's why I resigned in the end. Do you remember that 2011? I just went, I'm out, I'm good. I've got to go, because if I wait any longer, the candle's out.
Yeah.
And that's what we talked about in episode 1, 2, and 3 was this small flame builds up into this big burning inferno of leaving your dance on the dance floor, doesn't it? You know?
Exactly. And what I love about what you said a minute ago is that an action doesn't have to be as massive as I'm leaving my job today. It can be the little small things which lead you to have a little bit more control, a little bit more momentum,
a little bit more belief as well, a little bit more belief.
And take these little actions, and we're going to dial into these in a moment, but these little small actions are going to allow you to be able to feel like you're at least on the road, making one step after another step, even though you might still be waiting for something big to happen.
So the question is, before we move into some possibilities here, it would be, what are you waiting for? That's the question, isn't it? What are you waiting for?
And do you need to wait for it?
And do you need to wait for it? It might be, the answer is yes, and that's okay. In which case, what can you do today? And who would you have to become today to take a small, meaningful action in spite of waiting?
Because without any action, you never get any closer.
Honestly, I'm gonna say, go back. I'm gonna say, go back and re-listen to that last little bit.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's say it again. You ready? What are you waiting for today? What are you waiting for? And maybe you have to wait, and that's okay. Okay. And then you got to ask the next question. What do I have to do today, or who do I have to become in order to take a meaningful action in spite of waiting?
Oh, there it is.
Okay.
Exactly.
Or who do I have to become? What do I have to do in moving this forward? So maybe the waiting game is less.
Yeah. So that
I really want you to start.
Yeah. So you start taking some little actions so you can get closer. It doesn't mean you have to get there in one leap. Little steps.
Yeah.
And those little steps mean that without action, you never get any closer.
I think we've got to swallow our own advice here. You know, if we had a pill, a blue pill or a red pill, and both of them on there, I'm going to say, like, it would be like...
That's like Matrix,
yeah.
Right?
And one pill says, my own advice, and the other one says, my own advice. You're only left with swallowing your own advice. Okay, bit of a Jack Sparrow moment there. But ultimately, if we had a client and they wanted to lose weight, let's say they were, I don't know, 5 stone overweight, and they said, Neale, how do you lose weight? I said, it's a series of small steps, consistently repeated day in, day out. And they wanted to get from like where they are now and be like 5 stone lighter tomorrow. You'd be like, no, mate, that's totally unrealistic. It's not going to happen. It's not going to be achievable unless you did something incredibly radical, like go and have, like, I don't know, a leg removed or weight loss surgery, like overnight, wham, bam, walla, bing, bam. There's your 5 stone gone. You'd be like, well, that's a real stupid approach. Like, no one's going to do that. Yeah.
Exactly.
And that's going from like 0 to hero. Mm-hmm. Let's swallow our own advice. Okay.
It's not going to happen like that.
It's not going to happen overnight.
It's the same as your weight loss
clients. It's the same as your weight loss clients, or whatever clients you want to go after. Okay. So swallow that same pill and go, do you know what small actions do I need to repeat daily? Okay. For your overweight client, their small actions could be to drink 3 litres of water every day, get 7 hours sleep, and train 3 times a week. Yeah, so you see what I mean? They're actually small hinges, ninja moves, swing big doors.
Exactly. And as your client's doing these little tiny modifications and you're giving them advice on that, they're just modifications to their lifestyle that over time lead them closer to the outcome. But what you wouldn't stand for is if your client turned around and went, but I don't know how to cook, I don't know how to food prep, I don't know how to do this, I'm not a food prep.
I'm actually going to tip my hat.
Can I get one for that?
To Hayley. I'm going to tip my hat to Hayley because you've just made the smoothest.
It was going to be so smooth they didn't even know, and now you're just giving it away.
And I was teeing up for transition for me, and you just went straight in and whipped the tablecloth from underneath me.
They don't even know what we're saying.
You don't even know what we're talking about, and that's the funniest part.
I was saying that your client basically has this modification. You wouldn't take it from them that they said, I couldn't cook, I don't know how to cook, I don't know how to food prep, because there is always an answer. I mean, we live in 2020, right?
Completely.
There is YouTube, there is Google. Everybody knows the hows.
Everybody knows the hows, and this is the biggest thing, I think, one of the biggest things that stops a lot of fit pros from getting started, and it stops the overweight dude from getting started as well, because we have this really easy response of, I don't know how to cook. And for a FitPro would be, I don't know how to set up my Facebook page. I don't know how to change my Facebook cover. I don't know how to set up Instagram. I don't know how to get a client. I don't know how to get an interview in a gym. I don't know how to. I don't know what to wear in the gym for an interview. I don't know all of the hows, all the specific hows. How. And so we have this external conversation with ourselves of like, I'm not techie, I've never been able to do this. And we go back to season 2, episode 3, which is the internal hang-ups of belief of whether or not you can do something. You see how these intervene?
Exactly.
Like, this is planned stuff, people. This is planned. And what I love about this is I just want to, it's a really harsh comment what we're saying here. There's no excuse in 2020 to turn around and say, I don't know how to do something, because in your pocket right now, the very thing you're listening to us on or watching us on is your mobile phone or your laptop or your tablet. Okay.
The answers are there.
The answers are there. So, for example, you might go, I don't know how to set up my Facebook page. You're brand new to fitness. And you think, you know what, I need to get a Facebook page up and I need to start putting some bits out there. I'm going to set up a business page. And you go, I don't know how to do it. And so you've got two options. You can either sit there and believe that you don't know how to do it, or you could literally go onto Google and say, how do I set up a Facebook page? And then go on to the first YouTube video
or Google blog,
and somebody has made you a step-by-step process of the exact things you need to do right now on the current
and
Facebook.
It'll be free and it's quick because it's there and you don't have to pay anyone else to do it for you.
Whenever we have this external hang up of I don't know how to do X, okay, you've literally got to type in your very problem into Google. And we do this daily, literally all the time.
This is how we built our first website. It's how we've built everything since. And we just go, oh, I don't think I know how to do that, but I'm sure somebody has done it before. I'm not the first person to do it.
So, for example,
and if someone's done it before, the answer will be there.
Success leaves clues. So, for example, like in our Facebook Inner Circle yesterday, somebody put a question in: is how do I make 15-second clips for Instagram? Yeah. What app do I need? And it's a great question because that goes back to season 2, episode 2, common questions. Type in your common question right into Google and go, how do I create a 15-second clip? What app do I need? Ta-da! Somebody has answered that for you. Like, the world doesn't need any more information. We literally have every ounce of information at your fingertips right now. We just need to go out and get that information and ask the question literally how you would say it right into Google.
So we smashed the internal hang-ups in the last episode. You've now just said any of those hows you're worried about, don't worry about. That's what's fun, right?
It is, but I also want to address a couple more things before we move on here into the principles of what is your actual problem right now? Because you could turn around and go, how do I set up a Facebook page? How do I set up Instagram? How do I set up my Gmail email account? Yeah. How do I get the client? How do I market the client? How do I take money from a client?
How do I edit a video?
How do I edit
an image?
But you really got to step back. You might write all these how questions down, but my question to you is, what is your problem and question right now? Okay, so an example.
Yeah, what's the one biggest problem?
An example of that is somebody reached out to me in the week and they said, what do you think of this deal to set up a website? And I went through all the details with this learner and it seemed like a great package to get a website. And then I asked just one question: is your problem right now as a FitPro about having or not having a website? And the answer was, well, not really. My problem is somewhere else. I'm like, cool, let's not focus on the website.
And getting my first client.
So this goes back to what Hayley said earlier, okay, and I need to just go up through the notes and grab the exact words.
What did I say?
You said, what are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for?
What are you waiting for? And this is the same question, isn't it? I'm waiting for something, and in doing so, I'm going to go and solve a different problem.
And then you've got to wait for that problem to get solved.
You've got to wait for
that
problem.
And then that problem to get solved, and that problem to get solved.
I've seen this and I've been guilty of this big time, is we create our own problems, okay, that don't necessarily need asking or answering right now?
Well, let's bring that back to the weight loss client.
Yeah.
As an example, you say, like, these are the things I need you to do to get started. This is what you need to do to lose weight. This amount of nutrition, this type of thing on the workout, etc. They've got their plan. You've given it to them. And they go, I just need to go and buy my trainers. Cool,
I knew what you was going to say.
I just need to go and buy my sports bra. I need to go and buy the Tupperware for my meal preps. I need to go and buy the blender. I need to go and do this. I need, first of all,
which are all important.
And then, I'll start on Monday. And they kind of build up. They're things that you need to consider, but this stuff builds up.
Yeah, but that's not their problem right now. So we end up get my words out, asking and answering a set of problems that are useful and interesting to tackle, but they're not what we need to be focusing on right now. So my question is, like, what are you waiting for? And are you filling that waiting with a problem that really you just don't need?
Stuff questions.
Okay,
a little bit of stuffing.
So stop asking questions or how questions if that's not your problem right now. Okay, and we're there every day. So we have, we're building Parallel's growing. So we're just a little bit further down the road than maybe you are. And that's something we said last week.
Don't compare your day one to somebody else's day 1000.
Day 1000. So we ask questions every day, and I go back to it all the time and go, is that my problem right now? Is that what I need to be focusing on right now? And 99% of the time, it's not. I'm just allowing myself to be distracted to a more sexier problem.
More fun to deal with.
A more fun problem to deal with. Because actually the toughest problem is the one we're avoiding.
And that's the one you really need to solve.
And that's the one we really need to solve.
So let's dive into these principles. We have 4 really clear principles for you to follow. So if you're starting as a FitPro, getting ready to jump off that cliff, we're going to make sure that you've got a really nice net underneath.
And a parachute.
So that when you jump off the cliff...
And a buddy. Like, this is a tandem jump.
No.
Because it's scary, right? It is scary. You've done all the hard work, time, energy, and effort, getting qualified. You've had to go be online or do attendance days. You've tackled so much already. You've already kind of jumped off various cliffs and found that you can actually do this stuff. Now you're at the edge of the next cliff and you're like, I need to get started. And that first step across that line, across the edge, is scary, right? I get that. I really do. But it's not a free fall. It's not terminal velocity straight onto the rocks.
We don't want that.
No, it's not. But it's also not. It's never got to be that.
No.
It's only
There's so many safety precautions you can put in place.
The feeling of that getting started is just up here.
Nice.
Okay, so it's just a step forwards. But
Amazing.
the toughest step is always the first. So principle number 1 is about having a goal and a deadline. Okay.
And what I love about this is it's not just a goal, it's also a deadline. You need a time frame on it. So you've probably done a ton of goal setting.
I'm going to pause you there actually on that.
You're going to say no?
No, but no, that's not what I'm going to say. It's like, I think, well, if you look back at level 2 and level 3, okay, which we teach, okay, there's always been a point where SMART goals have been the hurdle inside both those qualifications.
Yeah, definitely.
Like pretty much, if we had 10 people on a course, I guarantee 6 or 7 will bang their head against the wall for a period of time around goal setting.
Struggle with goals.
And I think this is when you get to that first point of kick-starting, there's not enough appreciation for goal setting, because we've maybe had not a bad experience, but a bit of a sour taste in my mouth around goal setting. It's like, oh, not goal setting again. And now principle number 1, Neale and Hayley, here they go again. Goal setting. But without a goal, you've got no destination. Yeah. And without a deadline, you don't even need to get to the destination for a time. So it's like, well, why start now? Why start now?
Exactly.
Why even start now if you don't know where you're going? You don't know what time you got to be there.
It's like, we've said this before with the sat-nav, it's like if you've got to get to a destination for a certain time, you put all your preparation involved, don't you? Like, you plan the night before, you get all of your clothes ready to go away, all of your wash kit, all of your paperwork that you need, and you're like, cool, everything's packed, the car is packed, I'm ready to go. Sat-nav, I know my destination, I know what time I've got to leave to get there, it's all planned. Whereas if you don't have the destination and you don't have the time frame, when will you leave?
Completely. Well,
When will you even pack the car?
Well, it's like next Thursday night, Hayley and I, we live down in Plymouth, down in the southwest, and our Milton Keynes Academy is obviously in Milton Keynes, but we've got a PT group starting next Friday, which is day one of the PT course.
Yeah.
And so we now have a goal to get to Milton Keynes for a very particular time, and there's a deadline. But there's also a series of goals and deadlines in order to get to that point as well. So for example, this afternoon, once we've recorded this, we're going to start sorting out all the paperwork. We've got all the printing sorted. We're going to get even down to like our own kit ready, personal kit for the 3 or 4 days we're in Milton Keynes. We're going to sort the car out. We're going to make sure we're good to go. And now there's a deadline on that because that's got to be done today.
Got to be done in
So
advance.
without a goal and without a deadline, you can't even begin to think about all of the other actions or mini goals or mini deadlines that go into that.
Into the preparation. So when you're setting your goal of the stepping out, this is your stepping out goal basically, when you know that you're formally like the big action has occurred. This goal might be something along the lines of having to save a certain amount of money before you hand in your resignation at work.
Yeah.
It could be that you want to make sure you've already sold a few clients on a few things. You maybe got a few clients running alongside your job.
I call that fitness moonlighting.
Yeah.
So you've got your, 37.5 hours a week in your main job, and you earn 24 grand a year. And for the next 6 months, you're going to work, let's say 15 hours a week and pick up clients. And for the next 6 months, it's going to be incredibly hard on your time, but you're going to start spinning lots of plates to the point where you start to earn enough money to reduce your 37.5 hours.
Yes.
But there's a 6-month goal there.
Yeah. And that won't just happen naturally. It won't happen. You need to plan for it. So set a set time frame and set the measurable outcome, which is to leave the job at this time or to have 5 clients earning me this amount by this time. Know exactly what you want in an ideal world, and it's okay if that doesn't happen.
Yes.
My problem with setting goals always used to be that I didn't want to set a goal because I didn't want to disappoint myself. And I didn't think that I would necessarily get it, or I wouldn't get it in the right time frame, or what if something else happened before I would let myself down. You're not letting yourself down. It's just something to focus on to get you really excited about. So you can go, that's what I got my eye on. You don't need to tell your boss. You don't need to tell them, but you can just carry on taking your little actions, making sure
it happen.
You're focused and excited.
I want to focus on 2 other different types of people here as well. So maybe you're in a position where you want to leave your job and get into fitness, and maybe you've got to give a certain amount of time. So I've had this conversation with quite a few learners. I'm going to say pretty much all this year. It feels weird, more so this year, more so this year than say previous years. But they've got to give at least a 3-month or 6-month notice period based on their position in their job. And so that's an amazing time frame, because if you are in a position where you've got to give 3 months, 4 months or 6 months, that's a serious amount of time to take a serious amount of action every single day. But by having that deadline, you've also put your back against the wall, because you've made it very public. You've made it public to yourself. You've actually had to write a resignation and go through that process, that conversation.
Decent step forward,
It's a massive step forwards. But now you've got 6 months to say, right, what do I need to do in this next 6 months? What do I need to get in order? What ducks do I need to line up? How much money do I want to kind of hold back? Where's my money going out every month? What actions do I need to take? What kit am I going to buy? And you can start to get into the nitty-gritty of a house to actually make this happen. But when you've got your back against the wall and you've made it more public, I think that's a key point. Now, the other person I want to talk about is what I think is a lot of our learners, because almost 60% of our learners are ladies, female, and are getting back into fitness, using fitness as a way of returning back to work after having kids.
Yes.
And so the first thing would be going back to, what are you waiting for? Well, I'm waiting for the kids to start school properly when they're 4 or 5.
I've got some time to be able to train clients.
And so then they're like, what are you waiting for? I'm waiting for the kids to go back to school after the holidays, or I'm going to wait until after Christmas, whatever it might be. But what I want to dial into here is there's no major deadline or goal where you can really hold yourself accountable for.
Because you've not got to resign from anything.
Because you've not got to resign from anything. Okay,
Yeah,
and then
absolutely.
so it's making it a real public statement of this is what I'm going after. I'm really excited, and telling loved ones, family, friends around you how much this means to you.
Yeah.
So you've got more external accountability.
And still pick a time frame or an event that is around a certain time, that's like, say, kids go back to school, or I'm going on holiday in this week of August, I'm going to start as soon as I get back. So you've got a clear,
and there's
can't be
I think for this person
blurred.
there's almost no, correct me if I'm wrong, I might be well off the line, but there's no major consequence to not getting going.
Yeah.
You've only actually got everything to gain. Something we talked about
nice, and no risk or the benefits.
There's no risk or the benefits. So something we talked about in the season 2 episode 1, which was about FitPro beginnings, was we're either avoiding pain or gaining pleasure.
Yes.
And majority of the time, most people take more action when they're avoiding pain. Now, on this scenario, this person, you're gaining pleasure, so you're working towards pleasure, and so the reward, even though it's just as great, is almost harder to take action because you're not necessarily having to avoid the pain or discomfort versus 100%. The person, for example, that is in a job that they really loathe, they really dislike.
They just want to get away from it and start something they love.
Absolutely. Whereas you're maybe in a position where you love being at home with the kids. You love the life, the setup. You love the everything about it.
But whether it's pain or pleasure, remember your why. That was season 2, episode 1. Remember that why.
Yeah.
Because you're starting with the end in mind. It gets you excited. It gets you focused. It's part of that goal, and it gives you something to aim towards. If you don't have the clear goal, then whether it's an away from or a towards, you'll never get there.
We did something inside the Facebook Inner Circle quite a few months back now, all around about kickstarting and having this goal and pricing up your package and knowing what you're worth. And I think that's a really good place to start. So actually, let's place a link in here. If you're not already a member of the Inner Circle, come and join us in the Circle, and we'll put a hyperlink to that specific training. Because although we're talking about, pricing up your services, actually the first crux or 40% of that training at the beginning was actually understanding what is the goal, what are you heading towards, and something we've just what do you need to earn, and something we've discussed on the last couple of episodes is I want to help more people, but with helping more people I actually make money, and the more money I make, the more people I can help, and so they run congruently, right hand in hand.
Perfect. They run in parallel.
Run in parallel. What an amazing word. So this leads nicely on to principle number 2, which is all about chunking and chunking it up or chunking it down. So we're talking about dividing up your big goal into a series of steps.
It's like cake.
Cake?
It's like cake. So you've got a great big cake, and I don't know many people that will try and eat that in one great big mouthful.
Apart from Hayley.
However, you want to cut it up into pieces. So there are different ways that you can cut it. You might cut it lengthways, you might cut it in the traditional kind of like pie chart fashion, but there's loads of different ways you can cut up the cake, right? So there are different ways you can cut up your goal, and that's what you're going to look at, is how do you chunk that into bite-sized pieces so you can focus on eating one slice of cake at a time rather than all of the cake.
Instead of calling this 4 principles to starting, we should have said take your cake and eat it.
Oh, we should have.
I think what I love about this is basically saying, right, so it might be that your goal is to say get 10 clients. Okay, and when you've got 10 clients, you've got a bit more stability, you've got more income, you can start to take the foot off your gas and perhaps take some part-time hours and reduce your full-time job.
Yes.
Okay, so your first goal is, well, how do I get 1 client? And then you can say, well, can I ask them if they know anybody else just like them and have a referral? Well, you've got 2 clients.
Yes.
And now you've got 2 clients to go, well, actually, do you know 2 more people just like you? Now I've got 4 clients. So that's a real crude way.
Approach.
But ultimately you're saying, what was the exact process? I got 1 client. Now let's do that exact same process and get another client.
Yes. And it's really, really linear. So it's like the weight loss client that wants to lose 5 kilos. They're literally losing 1 kilo, 2 kilo, 3 kilo, 4 kilo, 5 kilo.
Yeah.
It's the same goal, just small little pieces.
And then you've got a different approach whereby you could take a series of different actions that don't necessarily relate to each other, but they do relate to the end goal.
They carve the path like stepping stones. I like to see it as like, there's your outcome, and you can hop onto each stepping stone.
And each one of these stepping stones is a process. So for your weight loss client, it might be, so if you train 3 times a week, there's one process.
Yeah.
If you sit in a calorie deficit on your food, there's another process. If you drink 3 litres of water every day, there's another process thing for you.
If you do your 10,000 steps every day.
Do your 10,000 steps, there's another process. And if you get 6 hours sleep every night, there's another process. And those 5 processes together, if you do those for a week, you're going to be 1 kilo lighter. Yes. Okay, that's the outcome. So the process here for you on your big goal is, okay, so the first process might be having a deadline, getting a deadline to hand in your resignation.
Yeah.
The next process might be to sort out your own personal finances as you yourself or as a family and know what the ins and outs are. What must you make?
Learning something specific to your client, maybe, for the third one?
Then the next process might be learning something specific about your client. The next process might be taking an action of actually setting up some social media. And then the final process might be to start selling, or to go and do some business meetings, or whatever it might be.
Yeah.
But you see, the point here is it's a series of processes. The talking to the family about your ins and outs of your finances doesn't really relate to setting up your social media.
You don't have to do it beforehand.
One doesn't cause or affect the other.
Nice.
But actually, all of those together get you towards your big outcome goal. You can't get the outcome goal without doing all of those.
Yes.
Okay.
There we go.
I think we've just nailed goal setting a treat.
And also, the nice thing about this is you can use it with your clients too. So you've learned twice here, not only for yourself and how you take action starting.
And it's not really just a case of saying, you could then have linear goals within those as well. So let's just go one step further. It's not a case of you do one or the other. You could say, right, I'm going to have a series of linear steps to set up my social media, okay, which would be, I'm going to type into Google, how do I set up my Facebook page? Goal done. Next goal, go to Facebook, step, go to the next goal. Next goal, how do I set up my cover up photo? Next goal, how do I post? Next goal, how do I do a video? Next goal. And that all leads down that social media path, of stepping stones of social media.
But the main thing being, you've chunked it into bite-sized pieces. It's a slice of cake, not trying to do the whole cake at once.
Completely.
And not trying to expect you to be able to eat it all in one sitting. And also not just having like a tiny crumb every time. It's got to be still a substantial amount of cake to make it a decent amount of cake.
Exactly.
It's got to be worth it. So it has to be this balance between something that's going to get you to the end point, but also that you could manage right now.
Right now.
That you think, I could do that right now.
So you might say one of my problems is, although I'm qualified, I don't really know how to plan. So you could type into you could even just go to our website, parallelcoaching.co.uk, go on to search, and you could go periodization. So you could then just go, right, today's goal is just to read one blog on periodization.
Or about warm-ups.
Exactly. And then you go, right, cool, now I've read that, tomorrow I'm going to do exactly the same again, because I've been led down a bit of a rabbit hole and I found this word called, I don't know, linear periodization. You go, cool, I'm going to go and type into YouTube linear periodization. And so now you've got this stepping stone path that says, I'm getting more confident in my ability to actually plan and guarantee a goal for my client. Okay?
Love it.
But that one action could just be, I'm just going to go to the Parallel Coaching website and type in and find that blog, and then I'm going to save that blog and I'm going to read it tomorrow.
So you've done something pretty cool here again.
Yeah.
You're on the segue, right?
There you go.
So Neale has seamlessly moved into principle number 3, which is all about solving one problem at a time.
Yeah.
And as he said, you could go through on the blogs and look at, I'm just going to solve this problem and I'm going to move on. Now, the same applies when you're looking at working with clients. You just want to solve one client problem at a time, and one of your problems at a time. So this is where, as Fit Pros, sometimes when you're looking to become a Fit Pro, your expectation of what you would do is now a little bit different. So you might have assumed that the thing you saw that you liked about being a Fit Pro, I'm going to make it really crude, was that you saw people were standing up all day, moving around with clients, they're in the gym, and they get to stand next to their clients whilst they train, really easy. Like just saw
But
the
also
training
maybe,
side of
but maybe
things.
you also saw. Let's build on that. You maybe saw your personal trainer work with a whole different host of people.
Yeah.
But again, don't compare your day one fat 1 to 1,000, because they could have multiple qualifications that allow them to work with multiple different types of people. So you might go, well, actually, my personal trainer works with somebody that is really, really overweight and BMI 40.
Yeah.
They might have their exercise referral, but you didn't know that.
Exactly.
Okay, so just because your expectation of what you can or what you saw was possible, I think the key point here is seeing what is it that I really enjoy and what do I want to do in fitness.
Yes.
Just because you were that flame was ignited and that spark went on because of your journey maybe, or what you've gone through or what you experienced. That was just the spark. That doesn't necessarily mean that's what you're going to go on and necessarily do or enjoy.
Yeah. So you want to pick one particular problem. Now, this might be that you want to work with just ladies that are post giving birth that want to lose weight.
Yep.
It's one particular problem. This doesn't mean you're going to be doing this forever.
No.
And
Yes.
the only thing
Yes.
forever. It's just one thing at a time. That one cake at a time, right? One piece of cake. So this is your one thing that you're going to focus on solving. And then you're going to create a signature program or a membership or a package. Something that solves that one problem that isn't a mix of like, I've got these ladies, but I've also got some guys and I've also got some people that want to build muscle and they're all in the same thing. You want to create one thing that solves one problem.
I think we just opened up a bit of a can of worms. And I know we've discussed this on previous sessions, but you know, if you're just solving one thing, it makes it incredibly easy to guarantee a result. Like you just said, if you're going to have a boot camp and you've got, gender's not an issue, but let's just say that you've got male and female of all different heights, weights, sizes, different age groups, different goals. One wants to tone up for their wedding, another one wants to go and do a 10k. One guy's an ultra runner, one other, you know, they've all got conflicting goals. And so how the hell do you start planning? And this is what I see as a big problem.
What rep ranges are needed?
Where do you, even down to the tactics of like exercise selection, could be completely biased towards one person's goal and completely irrelevant for another person's goal. And this is where people get their knickers in a twist and their confidence and their internal hang-ups come out, because deep down we know that actually we can't work with everybody.
And I think the fear hits because you go, how do I guarantee a result when I don't know how to get a result? How do I guarantee and say you can lose 5 stone?
And this is how I think you can guarantee it. And it's a concept I've used so many times, is this concept of going to a market. Okay, so if you imagine that there's a market, and in this market there's hundreds and hundreds and thousands of stalls, and all of these stalls is run by a personal trainer, yoga, Pilates, ETMer. So behind the stall is Joe Blogg's personal trainer. Behind another stall is Joe Blogg's personal trainer too. And behind another stall is a yoga person. Excuse me. Oh, God, I've run out of breath. I've run out of air. Yeah. And before the next person it's always red stalls, all run by fitness professionals. And we all are pretty much guaranteed to be able to sing and beat the same message. I want to help more people. I want to help people lose weight, get fit, feel happier, more confidence, feel stronger, all after the same thing. Okay, now what I want you to do is to go down to this marketplace with all these red stalls and set up a blue stall. Okay, and this blue stall is your stand, flag in the sand that says, I can do just what you do, but I'm after just ladies that are post-pregnant. And I'm qualified to help them, and I am the expert in this. Even though I'm newly qualified, I have the latest knowledge and I am good to go.
Yeah.
And then, I don't know, the next person comes down and they set up a blue stall, a flag in the sand that says, my mini manifesto is, I help guys in and around Milton Keynes that are 30 to 40 years old, that want to lose a little bit of weight and be confident taking their top off. Bam. So then when all of the hundreds of thousands of people flock into the marketplace, okay, and they're walking around and they're going, okay, so red stall, you look just like that red stall, and actually all these red stalls, you look the same. I don't know what to choose. I don't know what to pick. I'm only going to pick the cheapest one, because if you're all the same, I'm going to pick the cheapest person. Okay, so you're charging £50 an hour. You're charging me, hold on a minute, £3 a session, £5 a session. I'm going to go there because there's no difference to you. Anyway, turn around and they see this blue stall. This is a guy, okay? They see a blue stall that says, I help guys in Milton Keynes. I live in Milton Keynes. He's right near me. I've got my ears pricked up now. And he walks over and says, you've got to be between 30 and 40 years old. You've got to have, that's me. Bam, this guy's good. And you've got to be, have a little bit of weight, a little bit of timber around the midsection. That's what I'm after. I'm after a bit of weight loss. And yes, I am going on holiday and I do want to feel confident taking my top off. You are the perfect person to me. They're talking to me. And you're £60 a session. Fine, let's go, because you're going to solve my problem.
It's designed for me.
You've literally,
Amazing.
It's like you've have CCTV in my house and you know everything about me. Like, we are a good fit here. Let's go on a date. Let's go. Let's do it. Exactly. Whereas they turn around and the person over here could be cheaper. It could be even closer. They could be even more qualified, but they're all singing the same red stall marketplace. So when we're talking about a signature program, we're saying, who do I help and what problem do I solve?
Make it really specific.
And we're not saying you're never going to train ladies or never going to train guys.
Just this one time whilst you're promoting this one thing.
But if you look at other successful fit pros, they're doing signature packages. Okay, so if I've done this, and this is why I can speak from experience. So I used to help guys in and around Plymouth that were 30 to 50 years old, and it was just tackling confidence of the belly more than anything.
Yeah,
okay,
and their lifestyle.
And their lifestyle. And I niched down a little bit more and was mainly going after career-driven guys, and I'm going to say 80% of those guys were their own business as well, or were very high up in their business.
Yeah.
Okay, and there were 17,000 guys in and around Plymouth within 9 miles of me, okay, that fitted my description I was going after, okay? And I was never short of clients. I had a waiting list. Every time I opened my doors, I filled the program.
So although it was really niched down into a very clear person, there's still 17,000 people that you could choose from. So you don't need to have
the
all
important
of
thing
them.
when we come to the how, and you go back to your goals and your chunking up and your linear and your stepping stones that we mentioned a minute ago, I now know what to put on my social media. I now know what my ideal client's problem is. I know what to plan. I can say, well, if I'm going to get 10 guys come and do this session and they're all in exactly the same place and they're all in exactly the same start.
They all have the same nutritional challenges. So the advice you give just makes it really straightforward.
I never have to go, well, I've got a plan for this person who's an ultra runner and this person that's doing, wants to get fit for their wedding. Like they're two conflicting goals. But now I have very easy steps to follow because I only have to go down one problem solving place.
And then the one thing you might be thinking right now is, but how? How would I ever know how to get that result with that person? How can I stand there at my blue table and promise that I will get them a result?
Well, I'm going to be quite disparaging against the fitness industry now, because something that I felt incredibly passionate about for starting Parallel back in 2012, and my flag went in the sand and you joined me soon after, was this notion of face-to-face courses, which allowed us to go through a series of, in my opinion, weekends of part whole learning, where we layered something down for 2 or 3 days. We built upon that. We went away for 2 or 3 weeks, a month, and we came back as a group and we did it all over again. And across a 2, 3, 4 month period, I'm gonna say Parallel Coaching have not churned out thousands of personal trainers. We've created warriors. We've created hundreds of warriors, because the amount of people that have come through us have gone on and are continuing in the industry past the 18-month marker. Like, I could list so many people that are rocking it 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 years down the line. Okay, now my point here is they were armed with confidence around their knowledge because they understood it along the way. And it's quite disparaging, I get that, but I want to say it. And it's my FitPro session. Okay, but it might be that you've done a course where you've got your certificate, you've met the criteria, but you're still sitting there kind of banging your head going, I still can't grasp how to plan.
How do I put all this together?
How do I put this all together? If I had a client that wanted weight loss, what are the specific things I have to do
Yeah.
with my client? How do I get the client to take action? And what do I actually need to put in place? What do I say? How do I say it? How do I communicate this message? And
what
I
are
think
the variables? What is everything?
That's what I think is missing from the industry as a whole. It is disparaging.
I've actually really loved, part of what we've launched recently is FitPro 31. You might have heard about it, that we've been saying on the podcast. What I've loved is that we've had, what is it now, 85 people go through?
It's 89 today.
89 today, cool. Go through our FitPro 31. And what I love is that they've gone from this point whereby, exactly like Neil was saying, how do I do this? How do I make this theory I've learned apply to now getting a result with a client? So we combined everything you need to. We've structured it with clear principles. And what I've loved is people's confidence has gone through the roof to the point that they're okay to now take action. And I've loved that so much. So if you're lacking a bit of knowledge, it will stall your confidence. And if you're lacking that understanding of that's how I get a client result, you're not going to want to sell it.
Yeah.
So you sometimes need that extra bit of knowledge, that extra
everybody needs a coach.
Absolutely.
I've got a coach. I've had a coach for years. You've got a coach. So I think the key part here is the last principle was principle number 2 was about solving one problem and having a signature program.
Yeah.
One of the problems we solve, and one of our signature programs is FitPro 31.
Yes.
Okay. So in the course of about 2 months, we've put almost 90 people into our signature program.
Yeah.
And solves a very particular problem. We've taken somebody that really wants this burning desire to go and help people, but one of the stalling things is I know I'm qualified, but I still don't really know what to do. To going through FitPro 31, which is 30 days, and then you continue with all
31 days.
31 days, but then obviously, but then you continue with week in, week out for life with the brain picks. To being super confident and knowing, going, right, that's what I do. It's like, you've made this so simple. It's almost like I just have to go and do it now.
Exactly.
So that's what I think is a key point here, is understanding.
When you want to solve one particular problem with one client, build up your knowledge base around that so that you can do that one thing very clearly.
But now you just turn up to the marketplace with this blue stool and everybody's like, huh? What's that blue stool over there? Like, you stick out like a sore thumb because you just help people and with a certain problem.
And I think this links so well into the next principle.
Or the last principle, principle 4, which is value first.
Now, we could talk about marketing all day long and how you go and sell to your clients. But the biggest statement, we've got a couple of real clear points that we could not drill into you enough, is that if you're now getting past all that, like, right, I've built a plan, I know exactly who I'm going after, and you start looking for clients, what do? You start setting up with social media and you're like, cool, I'm going to sell.
Yeah. So let's just backtrack a minute. I'm going to put you on pause you. I'm going to pause you. I think the main thing with social media is a lot of people see social media as like videos of dogs and funny pictures and memes of cats, and it's a way of communicating with your friends and family and having a giggle and tagging people in. But ultimately, social media, we've got to think about, why is Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, what was the objective from Mark Zuckerberg for Facebook? And his objective was to create a platform that connected people socially, but ultimately was to be monetized and create a business. And so if we understand the objective of social media, what does Mark Zuckerberg or Facebook want us to do, and how do they want us to play their game? And I think if we understand how to play the Facebook game,
you never have to come up with tactics that will beat it completely.
And I think the game most people play from a social media is all about content consumption.
Nice.
So we're consuming content. You go on and you can easily lose an hour of your day, your life. So that's 1 hour a day, 365 hours a year.
Wow.
Okay, which is almost 2 full weeks of your year gone.
And that's only an hour a day.
And that's only an hour a day, consuming content. Now, I want you to consider that you've got to become a content creator. Yes. And those people that create the content are the people driving the rules of social media.
Nice.
So if you're creating content, you are turning up with your blue market stall saying, I help ladies that are between 20 and 40 who have had a kid in the last 6 months, and I help them get back into the body they desire. And now all of your content, one piece a day or one piece every other day to start off with, okay, will be geared towards the problems of that. So now your ideal client can start becoming consumers of you.
Yeah.
Okay, so very rarely would you find Haley or I geeking out over consuming content. And if we are consuming content, we're doing it really from a creative point of view and looking at it thinking, how did they do that? Why did they say it like that? How did they create this in the first place? How did they go through that process? Where did they come up with the idea? And now I'm going to pinch some of their ideas. I'm not going to copy it. I'm just going to use that as inspiration. And I'm going to go and create my own stuff. So if I spend 1 hour a day consuming content, you can now go and spend 1 hour a day creating content.
Yes, there is a difference. Now, what we're looking at is being able to give value. Like you say, when you're giving content and for other people to consume, for your ideal client to consume, you now know what their problem is because we had that in the last principle. You're going to work on helping them with that problem. You want to give them so much value that you start to build up what we call know, like and trust. Now, this know, like and trust is not going straight to a sale. Because it's social, media is social.
And this is also something we've not made up. This is something that we've been coached by and spent literally tens of thousands of pounds to understand these concepts, and we're giving them to you for free. And I think, you know, maybe if it's too simple, that's why people don't take action.
Yeah. So this know, like and trust is essentially building up the content you give out to your client. You're giving them examples of solving a problem. You're helping them go and get mini wins on their own for absolute free.
Let's give a couple of
using
examples.
Your content.
Like
so
that.
Things like knowing is like literally showing them, being like, hi.
Yeah, so
I'm here.
when we talk about know, like and trust, you literally want to be like, imagine you're at this market stall again and you've set up your blue tablecloth and you stand for a particular reason, you've thrown your flag in the sand, you go, this is what I work for. I help ladies between 20 and 40 that have had a kid in the last 6 months get back into their pre-pregnancy body, whatever it might be.
Yeah.
Okay, you're like, cool. No, it's like literally you wave and going, hello, Neale over here, I help these people, and they get to know you. Okay, and the more you create more content, they come over to your market store and go, I really like what you do.
I like your values.
I like your values. I like how
me.
you say it. I like your message. I like how you present this.
You talk like me.
Yeah, I like your sense of humor. I like what you wear. I like even down to like things of like, I like your shoes. I like the fact you're on time. I like the fact that you're consistent. I like the fact that you're almost like me. People like themselves.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
People like people that are like themselves.
There we go. People like people that like themselves. There we go. I got it in the end. And then the last part is trust. And the more they get to like you and the more they get to know you, they go, do you know what?
And they get to know the results you're getting with others.
Yeah, but they also, I trust you're going to turn up tomorrow on this market store.
Nice.
I trust that you are going to put out another bit of content tomorrow. I trust that if I ask you a question, you'll answer me. And the more they get to know, like, and trust you, the more they go, do you know what? This person can really, really help. Now, you could build up know, like, and trust in somebody in one post. But you could also build up know, like, and trust in somebody in 60 posts on social media.
Which is just like that market stall, in that you don't expect them all to buy the first time they come to the market.
No,
because
completely.
you'd expect to build that know, like, and trust over time.
Well, let's say a new tomato sauce came out. Everybody goes for Heinz, but a new tomato sauce comes out and you go, well, I know of this new tomato sauce. It's called the Bergman red sauce. Yeah? Oh, it's Haley and Neale here. Bergman. or the parallel red sauce. Okay?
Nice, I like that.
You with me?
I'm with you.
And you go, I know that they're about, but I also trust that Heinz doesn't let me down.
It always tastes good on my chips.
Always tastes good. But now you get to like the parallel red sauce, and you're like, actually, I like what they're posting. I like their videos. I like their message. I like their humor. I like everything about them. And then you start to see other people use it, and they go, I like that other people using it. I'm not quite ready yet.
Oh, I like how they used it on that food.
I like how they used it on that. Yeah, that's it. I like that recipe. And then they see a review and they go, actually, I'm going to give this a go. I'm going to trust that this is actually going to be just as good, if not better than Heinz. And they have a go at it and they go, do you know what? That was outrageously
Got my
good.
new favourite.
I got my new favourite. I'm going to have this every time. Now, the average person, if from a marketing perspective, builds up know, like, and trust. In order to convert that to a sale or a client, takes 30 touches. So if you're only posting on social media once a week, it's going to take you 30 weeks to break somebody to trust you.
Yeah.
Okay. But if you're posting 5 times a day, it's only going to take you 6 days. The more content, the more creation, the more consistent you are, the more somebody can build up know, like, and trust and start to be aligned with you. Now, this is I think you're going to go a slightly different way. But one thing I think all the time with this is social media is the metaphor for everything else I do in my life.
Okay.
So, for example, parallel coaching, every day of the week for years at 10:30 in the morning, I post the daily mock question.
Yes.
Okay.
You have.
And now people message us going, I'm gonna answer it first. They literally want to answer it first. They're messaging us at 25 minutes past 10 going, when does it go live? Does it go live early? Like, they're constantly refreshing.
Yeah, they're ready.
We are consistent. So if I miss a day, and I have done, I'll be honest, because of
usually scheduling errors.
It's a
when
scheduling error.
Instead of 10:30 a.m. it says
10,
p.m. and
10:30 p.m. and it's just a real
missed
silly mistake. But now people message us going, no daily mock questions today, and it breaks the consistency and it breaks the trust. So social media, if you're consistent, people start to see your values you live life by, which is consistency, dedication, trust, which is
daily
all
action,
showing up, which is exactly what you want you and your clients to do for each other.
If you do that for free, then you're also going to do that in your program.
In your paid program.
And that equals results. And so if you're, say, good for, I don't know, a couple of weeks, and then something comes up, life throws you lemons, okay, or suddenly life gets a little bit challenging and you don't post for a couple of days or a couple of weeks, that sends a very clear message out to the marketplace. Maybe you're a bit turbulent. Okay. Maybe you can't guarantee that you're going to be there.
Completely. And so there's very underlying principles at a subconscious level of why somebody might switch off from your social media. And I get it. Life will throw you lemons. Like, we've been ill. We've been poorly. We've been in hospital.
We've been teaching.
We've been on holiday. But you'll always get a 10:30 a.m. post from me, in spite of how I think, in spite of how I feel, or in spite of what's going on.
And I think if you're not sure how much you can take on, it's better to do one thing a day very consistently than 5 things one day and 0 the next.
Yeah.
So think about what you need to do that is achievable. But also, I wanted to really add on this know, like, and trust, that it doesn't just come down to posting on social, but the moment you can add to that by taking your client elsewhere, you will really, really benefit. So in social media, you don't own your list, you don't own the followers. They don't necessarily see it.
No one cares about...
Algorithm might change and the client doesn't see your page anymore.
No one cares about how many followers you've got. Like there's training providers that have got like 30, 40, 50, 100,000 followers. We got 4,500 followers. But who's busier? No. Who has more clients? Who's helping more people on a daily basis?
But with
it's inarguable that we are. I'm getting really passionate now. So it doesn't mean that because somebody didn't like your post, or somebody doesn't like your page,
they haven't read it.
They're not listening to you. But the other side to this is like your point, which was
that you don't necessarily own that traffic,
or that followers. I wanted to go on. You don't own those followers.
You can't guarantee that your content will be out in front of those followers every single time you post something.
Yes, completely.
So if we post our mock question, we can't guarantee that it will land on the same 4,500 people every single day on their newsfeed. It might only get to a fraction of that. But the one thing that I can do to make sure that I'm still in that person's ear, that I'm still there going, hey, do you remember me? I'm here. I'm still here in my on my stall, in my blue stall, is I can set up emails. Now, emails are fantastic. If you have any way of being able to bring somebody across to an email list, you now own that traffic in that you can send it directly into their inbox, and whatever happens on whatever platforms, if Facebook disappears tomorrow, if TikTok disappears, Instagram disappears, you own it and you can still reach out to those people easily.
And you might say, well, actually, these platforms aren't going anywhere. And I don't think Facebook or Instagram are. However, TikTok has grown to be like 165 billion active users. And within the space of a year is being banned in certain countries. Like, we're recording this, and a couple of days ago, the USA, America turned around and said, we are going to ban this next week. And usually the UK follows shortly after. So I can see a major app that has billions of active daily users is going to be banned. And now all of those influencers that built up hundreds of thousands of likes and hundreds of thousands of followers going to have their revenue or their route to market completely whipped from underneath them. Now, if they've not taken those followers to an email, or collecting data, or taking their followers to Instagram and sending them down what we class as a funnel, okay, allows them to communicate in different ways in order for them to build up know, like, and trust, in order for them to kind of indoctrinate them towards coming on board as a client, then they're gonna lose out. I just wanted to really highlight that just because somebody follows you, that follower still belongs to Facebook. That's a Facebook follower. And not yours, so to speak. So you've really got to think about how do you get them to go from know, like, trust, know, like, trust, know, like, trust, know, like, trust, to have a meaningful conversation either on Messenger or ideally on a phone, or even better in person, for you to say, you've known, like, and trust me enough. Let's have a meaningful conversation. Let's sit down and let's get you on board and come into my signature program. Like, you've come up to the blue stool so many times. Come on, come the other side of a blue table. There's lots of people just like you in the blue table.
Exactly. And what I think that coronavirus over the last 5 months has really shown us is you never know what's around the corner. Nobody would have ever turned around that, like, all gyms will be closed for several months. You never know what's around the corner.
Yeah, it's a really good point.
So it's really good, although you might focus on one particular area and what we call it, build a skyscraper in one area, I think it's really beneficial to still have a few little bungalows going on so that you can basically make sure that whatever happens, if that skyscraper drops for any reason, you can you can move those people across into your bungalow. So this could be blogs and YouTube, which will always be like the content you've created will be there.
Well, think about this, really.
And emails and Facebook and Instagram.
Well, I'm going to give you an example. Take parallel. We get 8,000 people read our blog every month.
Yeah.
Okay. We've got 13,000 people download our podcast, this FitPro Sessions. Yeah. We've got 11,000 subscribers on YouTube. Yeah. We've got 4,500 on Facebook. They're all spread across. Yeah. Okay. The biggest skyscraper for us is YouTube. Yes. That's where the majority of our content sits. Yeah. And it's that same thing. You've got one kind of skyscraper, Empire State Building, with lots of other like bungalows, as Hayley said, around it. Now you might think, this is really overwhelming. How do I put on the same content? Well, consider this. We're recording this now for the podcast. It will go on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Podcasts. We then put the same content onto our blog.
Onto our YouTube.
We put the same content onto YouTube and then take the same snippet of content and put it on Instagram and Facebook. So just because you do one bit of content, it can be repurposed all over the place. Nice. Now that's built up a serious amount of know, like, and trust, right? We've not at one point said, come and join our program, come and join our program. Like, there's no hard sale here. There's not even a soft pitch. It's like, if you're ready, you'll reach out. I genuinely believe that. Mm-hmm. Now, this is why I think a lot of businesses go incredibly wrong with the know, like, and trust, is they put a really soft, subtle, or even a hard pitch at the end of every post. Okay, so they go, for example, a boot camp might go, or it doesn't. I'm not picking on boot camps here, but you might say, right, really good boot camp this morning, really good work rate from everybody. If you're ready to come and join us, send me a message now. And there's a picture of everybody working out. But that's not know, like, and trust. Okay, you've not helped them with a problem. You've not helped them solve any minor pain they have. You've not given them any advice. You've not helped them get over their internal hang-ups. You've not helped them get over their internal hang-ups. You've not helped them in any tip or advice. You've not given them anything tangible or actionable steps to do. You've literally shown them a pretty picture and then pitched, and that turns a lot of people off. And
the occasional one like that might be fine because they might be ready, having consumed your know, like, trust content.
Well, a good kind of formula in terms of a how, you might do 40% of your content might be really fun and entertaining. 40% of your content might be educational and a bit more serious.
Nice.
And then 20% of your content might be a soft or hard pitch.
Nice.
Okay, so if you're going to have 10 posts in the week, 4 of those are going to be funny.
Yeah.
4 of those are going to be educational and a bit more serious, and 2 of them are going to be, one of them might be come and join my email list, and the other one might be come and join my signature program.
You've just done it all for them.
I just given you a really
A hell of a good formula.
And that's something that I followed and we followed for years because it's really, really simple in terms of know, like, and trust. And you wouldn't literally go like 4 funny, 4 educational.
2 pitches.
You would spread them out. You'd spread them out throughout the week and see when people are reacting and responding. So I know that more people react and respond in the morning on Facebook and in the afternoon and evening on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I take the same content and mix and match it around. But even if I went on that 4-4-2 principle, like, you might even do 1 a day.
Yeah.
1 post a day across 10 days. You're so far down the road towards your goal because you've taken an actionable step.
And it so links in everything that we've said. And so we've got 4 principles that we've dived into today. The first was all about having a set goal and deadline. The second was about chunking it into smaller pieces, so you've got something daily you can do. And then the third, what was the third about?
The third one was about the signature program, which was solve one problem.
And then the fourth was then about going and getting your clients by adding value first.
I always think it's like, how every day I literally step in the office and I think, how do I add value? What do I need to give today? Like, if I was to sit down in front of any of our learners, okay, or the people that follow us but have not yet bought, what's their one problem? What's their thing that's stopping them from taking action? And I'll go and look at content, previous content, and create new content to put in front of them to go, do you know what, that's exactly what I wanted to hear today. It's like you're a bug on my wall, or you've set up CCTV in my house. And I'm thinking, if I can just give you something without the expectation of receiving, if I can just provide some value without the expectation of you ever coming on board as a client, okay, I'm leading with that value. And I think that is fundamental in today's world.
Well, this is the value too. Like, we've turned around to you guys and said, what we found with season 1 of FitPro sessions, is that it was really good, but they were each individual things. We're like, there's a bigger problem that needs to be addressed, and that's that we want to dive deeper to really help you understand how to get started as a FitPro, because people are qualifying, and we help loads of people get qualified, but what do you do next? So we wanted to make sure that the whole of season 2 was this logical progression through really making sure we've battled all of your wars that you've got, and we've helped you get to the point you're ready.
And I would say go back, hopefully you've listened to episode 1, 2, 3 and now 4. I'd say go back and binge listen to them. It might take up 4 hours, but that could be another listen and another aha moment for you to go, do you know what, I'm going to do this. This is my goal. These are my steps. This is my process. This is what I'm going to do. This is my main problem. I'm going to solve this main problem. I'm going to go after this client, and that's their main problem.
I'm going to start by adding value.
I'm going to start by adding value. I know why I'm going to add value. I know my reasons why. I know that the kids go back to school or on half term in a couple of weeks' time. Life's going to throw me lemons. I need to schedule ahead of myself. I know that this is going to bottleneck my entire week, and I've got to sort that out. I'm going to be consistent. I'm going to be true to my deep values. I'm going to be dedicated in spite of what life throws at me. These are my questions. Where do I get my insurance? Answered, bam, I've got my insurance. Common questions, bam. Do I need to be a member of reps? Yes or no? My choice. What am I going to do? Do I need a website? Not right now. That's not my problem. My problem's here. Yeah.
breathe.
Internal hang up, fear of failure. Well, I might fail, but if I don't start, I'm always going to fail.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah? Let's leave it on that point.
That's good.
Okay? If you don't start, you've already failed. Okay? And most people's reason for not starting is fear of failure. Yeah. And I want you to consider that not starting at all is also the exact same route to the same feeling of failure.
Yeah, absolutely.
It sounds like I'm ending on like quite a somber note, but I really want you to start. You really want to start.
And I hope we've really drilled in that it doesn't have to be the biggest leap every single time. We'd much rather you do something small, regularly, very consistently. I think that's probably our biggest message across the board.
Yeah.
And just know that sometimes what you think you needed to do isn't actually the main priority. The answers you thought you needed to answer aren't necessarily the biggest priority, But what hopefully we've opened up over this season is that focusing you on what you do need to work on, focusing on the actions that you do need to take so that you can make this dream of yours a reality and just start.
And that in starting, you end up with a new set of problems, and then you tackle those problems, and that creates a new set of problems. Like what you're experiencing right now is the exact same thing you're going to experience in a year down the road when you've got hundreds of clients, and then you'll have it's just the same set of problems on a different scale.
Yeah.
So we're always going to be problem makers, problem solvers, and when you solve a problem, you create a new set of problems, and we become a problem solver. So what you're experiencing right now is just part of that journey. Just enjoy it, relax with it, and take the action you need to take today. So final question: who do you need to become? What do you need to do in order to take the next step in your journey? Okay, don't overcomplicate it. Keep it simple, and just say this one task, this one answer is I just need to do this one thing today, and it's a 30-second task. If that's what it is, that's what it is. It doesn't matter. The only comparison is who you're comparing yourself to yesterday.
Awesome.
Okay, and with that, this is the end of season 2, episode 4. It's been a blast. Absolutely
awesome.
Loved it. And you're going to have to hold out and guess and wait to see what happens with season 3 next week. It will be nothing. I'll let you into a clue. It will be nothing to do with...
It's not FitPro Beginnings.
FitPro Beginnings. Definitely not. Anything you want to add to finish up?
No, I think, first of all, thank you so much for joining us in season 2. It's been awesome. Make sure you join us in the Inner Circle Facebook group. There will be a link with this podcast and video. And in there, you can ask questions. And most importantly, you can mingle with other Fit Pros in
Just
a really supportive place that have your back rather than feeling like you're sort of on your own.
Completely.
So, yeah, join us inside the Inner Circle.
And if you've got a lot out of season 2, FitPro Beginnings, and you are ready to give us a 5-star review in iTunes, you can't do it on other platforms, unfortunately, but if you are on iTunes, you're an iPhone user, iOS user, please go ahead, drop us a review. It'd be great to hear your feedback from there.
If you're on YouTube, make sure you hit subscribe, like, and also leave a little comment, because I love reading your comments and replying. And we will see you in
next
season
week,
3.
Season 3.
Hi, I'm Neil Bergman.
And I'm Hayley Bergman. Over the last 10 years, we've helped thousands of fitness professionals to get qualified, learn with simplicity, and coach clients with confidence.
We're the first to say that learning and being a Fit Pro doesn't have to be hard work, and that with the right structure, support and resources, you can become a confident and knowledgeable fitness professional that is dedicated to more.
So how do you learn, qualify and kickstart as a Fit Pro? This is the Fit Pro Sessions podcast with Parallel Coaching.